If you've been feeling more exhausted, cynical, and ineffective than usual this past year, you're not alone. Indeed, studies point out that more than 50% of the workforce are feeling burned out. While burnout was a serious and growing problem prior to COVID-19, the pandemic exacerbated the issue. Given the widespread burnout among financial professionals this year, accountants will need to discover methods to rebalance their lives and recover their professional energy as the country grapples with the pandemic. Unfortunately, recovering from burnout isn't as simple as going to a spa, because it's usually a systemic issue that needs holistic solutions. We're frequently focused on the symptoms, such as exhaustion and cynicism, rather than looking at what genuinely causes burnout, such as a lack of autonomy, leadership support, acknowledgement, and transparency. With that in mind, consider the following strategies for both mitigating and addressing the fundamental causes of burnout at your accounting company. True burnout is not the same as just feeling stressed, so the first step is to determine where you fall. Burnout is a condition that results from chronic professional stress, with typical symptoms of energy depletion, cynicism, and inefficacy, while stress alone is a temporary condition. Burnout occurs when your personal limits are broken down. That's why it can be so hard to get out of the habit of living on your nerves. Burnout is a form of self-sabotage because you don't want to allow yourself to stop being stressed. You're a human being. If you're stressed, that's normal. It's how your brain works to keep you from harm. It's how we've evolved as a species to be more self-aware and to learn and adapt. You may track and improve stress awareness by measuring your stress levels throughout the week. Take note and identify the fundamental causes if you find yourself on the upper end of stress or feeling burned out. Once you've identified what's causing your burnout, you may start addressing the concerns. It's going to be much more difficult, or even impossible, to address burnout on your own. At some point, if you're truly burned out, you have to let somebody know about it. It's going to be hard to pretend it's not happening and continue to work at a fast pace. Discuss your feelings with your boss, a trusted colleague, mentor, or a healthcare expert, and see if anything can be done to overcome the issue. Having a mentor or sponsor, within the business or on your team, someone you can confide in and rely on, is key. If you don't currently have one, work to build a support system of coworkers and mentors, and pay attention to the health and quality of your workplace relationships. These relationships are frequently tremendously motivating and energizing, and they can aid in the prevention of burnout. The boundary between our work lives and personal lives has all but collapsed as a result of the shift to remote work. In order to reinstate a healthy balance, set meaningful boundaries, and say no to more non-essential requests. Make an effort to take a break from work at the end of the day and on weekends, to allow yourself time to recover. On weekends, be present, switch off your alerts, and make a list of everything you accomplished throughout the week, so that the week is not defined by what you should have done, instead of what you did. When looking back, you will see that the things that you did during the week led you to a very good outcome. Burnout can be prevented or mitigated when professionals spend up to 20% of their time performing the most meaningful aspects of their work. If you're feeling cynical or disengaged in your job, take some time to think about what you find most essential and meaningful about your job, and then make an attempt to include more of those duties into your work week. You'll probably find out that you have more energy and that you're more productive, and you'll be more focused and happier. For example, if you discover that communicating with customers gives you the greatest purpose, find a method to conduct more client-facing work during the week. To achieve that 20% goal, you may need to delegate or automate some of your less significant tasks, which may be difficult at first. Quality breaks are critical for both preventing and recovering from burnout. A break is something you can do as an individual, a team, or a company that creates some time off. It's not just about taking a day off work. It's about doing something different and having time to focus on yourself and your mental health. Unfortunately, our culture values overwork and constant productivity, and as a result, many individuals feel bad about taking breaks. If you struggle with this, take micro breaks of 5 to 10 minutes during the workday to do something that feels good for you, such as exercise, eating breakfast, or listening to 10 minutes of an inspirational podcast. The most important thing is to find something that works for you and make it a habit. If you've done everything you can to address your burnout, but nothing seems to be working, you may need to tackle the underlying systemic issues. It may be that you have a lack of resources, and so you can't effectively do your job. Realize that, and don't blame yourself for what's not in your control. For example, if your manager isn't giving you enough autonomy or support, or workloads aren't being properly distributed, you should consider having a frank conversation with him or her to see if that can be addressed. Most of the time, these aren't isolated incidents, so there's a strong likelihood that others in the office are dealing with similar concerns. Engage in dialogues with coworkers to bring up the difficulties, and then consider having a meeting with management. There is strength in numbers, so if you are uncomfortable having a one-on-one chat about stress levels with someone in your organization, go in with a group of individuals. Be transparent. Describe occasions where you worked effectively at a fast-paced, demanding periods, and provide clear ideas for how you see your burden decreasing. If you have enjoyed, want to keep on learning, and still did not subscribe to the channel, you can do it today by clicking on the subscribe button below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.